All right, Shawn Day, Higher Lead Chill. How y'all doing out there today? It isn't Tuesday at 2:30, so don't get worried. We're just changing the day up a little bit here. It is Monday, and I hope it's a good Monday, and it's a refresh day, restart day, go out there, get it day. Monday at 9 a.m., we got a special guest on today. I want to talk quickly before I bring Tim in, just a couple updates on labor market stuff. I did a live, I don't know, sometime last week, mid last week or so. The labor market's really a tough labor market in some parts of the country right now, actually really tight. We're getting, for a number of reasons, a number of things going on, and I'll just update you quickly. One is that the blue collar sector of the country is rocking and rolling right now for a number of different reasons. So, like, I'll give you an example of how tight it got in the construction end. Construction was at like 6.5% unemployment in January, and I think either June or July it dropped down under 4%. That's like 1% in that short amount of time is huge. It might not sound like a big number or a big change, but it is. And so what's going on is that we've got manufacturing coming back to the country. I don't want to get into big political stuff on that, on any of this. It's just reality. And there's huge corporations, Siemens, GE Aerospace, Amazon, of course, we know, that are building and doing things right now. Some have started up and some have guaranteed that they're going to invest in this. And so these companies are looking for blue collar people to be on the floors, stacking stuff, warehouse and stuff. They're on factory lines. That's our labor force, right? So there's these huge things happening right now. The immigration thing, if you haven't heard, there's some immigration stuff going on over the last few years and recently. And so there's literally, we've gone from millions of people that have been immigrating into the country to boom, like there's stop, right? There's also, with some new things going on, there's also fear of hiring people that are illegal immigrants or, it's a little bit messy to try to hire those that have green cards that are great workers, great people, that type of thing. There's some hesitancy on that, whatever the word is, caution on that. And so those are things that are happening. And so I'll give you one example. Somewhere, I think it's Connecticut in the New England area, Amazon's building this huge warehouse again, of course. There's 1,000 employees that they need to hire right away. Now, somebody's got to build the building. So what's going on with construction there? Somebody's got to supply the building company and the contractors with stuff. What's going on there? So all these things are happening, and it's a really tight blue-collar labor market. And the other thing that's going on, too, wages have gone up dramatically in the blue-collar world. Okay. So if you're somebody that's paying bonuses and percentages and stuff, you'll probably be okay. Might need to talk to Tim about raising prices again. And we'll bring that in too. But all these things combine. And, when wages go up, there's a couple real life scenarios that happen. One is, you know what, Fred, don't leave. I'll give you that extra money. So wages go up. Fred doesn't go anywhere. Fred's not looking at your job ad. Okay. That makes it tough to hire. So all those things are playing out. In the marketing world, we don't have that type of competition. You're pretty much, if you're cleaning gutters, installing gutters, the competition's the gutter business. You're not competing against Walmart, okay, necessarily. So in the recruiting game, man, you're competing against some of the world's biggest companies. So you've got to be nimble, you got to be quick, you got to change things up, you got to really, just like Tim talks about marketing and his team, you got to make sure you're different than everybody else out there. You got to be at the top of your game. He's got great strategies, tactics, and things to do that. Any sentence Tim gives me today with the word marketing or sales in it, I'll take that and replace it with recruiting, and it means the exact same thing, man. So let's bring Tim in. That's enough of the boring labor market stuff. If anybody wants to talk to me about it, I'll have my calendar link somewhere. Tim, how you doing, bud?
Good, man. How you doing today?
Good. Tell some people about you, and then we'll get into it.
So I have a coaching program with my partners, Gutter Growth. We focus on the gutter industry. Also, we have the Gutter Summit coming up September 24th through the 26th. Super excited about that. We got some great speakers, tons of classes, educational, vendors, whole nine. So I'm pretty excited. And I'm looking forward to that.
That's in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta, Georgia.
Beautiful.
So,
and this is So you guys are expecting a couple hundred from what I'm hearing, at least showing up this year.
Yeah, at least I think we'll probably max out at like 260, 275, and then they won't let any more in the building. So
The firemen are like, hold on, man. That's awesome because there's been this thing that's happened with putting on summits and things like this, where COVID really had us on lockdown for a number of years. So we couldn't wait. Everybody's like, as soon as COVID was lifted, it's like, let's get out of here and we'll go to anything, any summit out there. And then what happened, I think, is I started to see everybody in the world come in with one, but the quality was kind of going down. The attendance was going down. You guys are one of the few ones where I'm looking and you're maxing out. Like I've gone to some where they're expecting a couple hundred and there's like 50 or 60 or 75, and it's like, and you're still paying a lot of money for stuff. I think you guys have it nailed. I don't know exactly what you're doing. I know you got a good group there, but talk about that and what's different, why yours is growing compared to maybe some others out there.
I guess, I mean, we're being pretty innovative with it, and I don't know. It's just my partners are incredible. So I can't say it's all me. Like if it wasn't, we just got a good team of guys and we're able to accomplish a lot together. So it's just, I don't know. Everybody there really cares. Like everyone there really cares to teach and, get the information out there and change lives. And I think that's part of it. A summit's definitely, a big undertaking to put together.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Now, what's different between the first one, what you didn't know, and what you didn't see coming compared to this year?
This year's just a lot easier. Like last year, we knew that we wanted to do it around, October time.
Yeah.
And then, initially when we were just looking for the venue, it took 2 months and I felt like I was just getting nowhere. And, we're like on week 5, week 6, week 7. I still didn't have a place secured, so this year was much easier because, everything that we didn't know, we know this year.
Right. That's a whole different ballgame, man. That's awesome. Yeah. So what if I'm somebody on the sideline and I see a lot of industries in the home service space where, residential home cleaning has, I can name 5 coaches and 5 summits and 5 conferences off the top of my head right away. I can do that in pressure washing. I can do that in window cleaning. I can do that in Christmas lights now even, right?
Yeah.
I don't hear a lot of coaching outside of you guys really in the gutter installation and cleaning space. Why do you think that is?
There was a couple
or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple guys that popped up kind of like at the same time. I just feel that we do it better. I mean, honestly, it's just, we got a team of like 6 or 7 coaches. So it's not just me or it's not just Grant. We got like different expertises, but all gutter industry related. Okay. But everyone has like their strong points. So it's just, I guess, when you have a team, you can just accomplish more.
Right. Okay. And then, so let's talk more about the summit. If somebody's going to go to Georgia here, and it was September 24th,
25th, and 26th.
Okay. So it's a 3-day summit, at least a 3-day summit. And so what is it that is, I hear there's also this backlash that I'm hearing, like, all these guys, you go there and it's this and the rah and this and that. What is it that somebody's going to get? That is it just marketing? Is it, what is it that they're going to get besides cool cigars and brandy and fun like that? There's that side of a summit, which is cool, which is great, which people love. What's the other thing that somebody's going to get, and who should go there?
So anyone in the gutter industry, really, and even if you're not in the gutter industry, but you're looking to get into it. Last year we had a guy that was just getting into the gutter industry, didn't have a machine, and he won his first free gutter machine at the Gutter Summit. So nice. It was pretty cool to see. It definitely changed his life. I was happy it went to him for sure. But, it's just a place to be. It's, we focus on mindset. So you're going to get a lot of mindset stuff, but you're also going to get practical things, in different areas. And we have some classes where we got 2 classes going on at the same time. So a certain class might not interest you as much as the other. So you're going to kind of have a choice to choose from and then pick the one that best applies to you, whether it's marketing or whatnot.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That happens quite a bit. Like, if you're not into one, what do you kind of do? For an hour and a half there. That's a great idea. And who's your keynote speaker this year?
So we got Michael Burnoff, and we
Nice.
got John Majak, and we
Yep,
got Michael Shawn Crane. So they're all
Awesome.
gonna bring some fire for sure.
What's Big John talking about this year? Do we know, or is that a surprise, or what's
I don't
going
know.
on?
He's surprising us.
Good. He's been a keynote speaker enough. I'm sure it's going to be a good one. So with 260 people there, how many? So there for 3 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's outside of just going to see a couple things, learning and that type? Are there things that are going to happen and stick after the summit's over? What's going on with that?
What do you mean after the summit?
So is there, you go home, you get the mindset, you get the information. Is there like ways that people can still be engaged after the summit?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're going to be sharing a playback of all the classes, or even if there's classes they missed, they'll be able to go home and kind of do some more homework on that. But you know how Tony Robbins, his events were so impactful, and like a lot of it has to do with the energy.
Yep.
That's one thing that the summit really brings. We really bring a lot of energy. So you're going to go there and you're going to get amped up and motivated. And it's going to be, you're going to have that energy to carry you through for the next few months so that you can go ahead and implement that stuff. But we have a lot of fun there, especially the VIP. A lot of networking. We're going to have cigars. We have a DJ that comes. And so it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. You just nailed it with the networking and just meeting people. And I remember years ago, I was kind of hesitant in going to my first summit and conference and that sort of thing. Not because I thought I knew it all or anything like that. It was kind of the opposite. It was just like, I didn't really know a lot of people when I first started out. Really uncomfortable in front of big groups of people and that sort of thing. So what is it? What can you tell somebody that's like in that sort of mind frame that goes there and is just kind of hesitant, kind of going, man, I'm just this little dude in this huge pond. It's intimidating a little bit, I think, for some people.
Yeah, I mean, the people that go here, they all care and they all want to help and they all are, so you don't have to worry about anything. Like everyone there is going to want to have conversations and learn from you. And, there's a lot of stuff that you're going to learn there. But it could just be you sitting next to one guy and he says this one little small thing to you that really just changes your life that you'll never forget. And it's not always something big. It could be something really small that you're getting in conversation. So it's important.
Yeah, for sure. I remember talking at the Christmas Clippers a couple years ago, and there was after I was done talking to a few people, and then I see this one guy kind of off in the corner, and he's just kind of sitting there, and he's got to pace it back and forth a little bit. And then he finally comes over and he goes, "Hey, you got a couple minutes? I just want to talk." I said, "Yeah." So literally 2.5 hours of conversation. It went from, I think I'm losing my wife. I'm losing my business. This is like real life stuff. You're going to have conversation. That's not a couple minute conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And I know you guys, and I know John, and I know Grant, and I certainly, know you obviously. And that, that's what happens at summits like this with guys like this. And it's like, you're going to find somebody. And if you kind of open up a little bit, and that's just talking, that's all you're doing. Tim's right, man. It can change your life just having that one conversation. And you're going to have people that you've never met in your life, calling you brother and say, "Hey, brother, what are you doing? What are you about? What's going on? Where are you from? What part of the country?" And then, and that's really what this stuff is really potent when that stuff starts to happen, man.
And you might make some long life friends, that's going to carry you through for a long time. You'll be able to, hit them up, bounce questions off of them, and they're in the same industry, so they're going to understand.
Yep, for sure. And I guess like everything else, you guys have people that are, maybe thinking about getting into it, maybe been in it for a couple of years, been in it forever, but just kind of didn't know how to grow it and didn't try new things, and they're kind of stuck with things. So it's an interesting thing that you can have that type of background of people coming there, and everybody, and you've got something for everybody there as well. And there's new stuff that's happening all the time. There's new things that are coming out all the time. There's shiny, crazy things that we might want to avoid. But I know you guys. I've seen the agenda and stuff, and you've got some serious freaking meat on the bone, man. I mean, you really do.
Yeah. It's an impactful event, and so if you're not doing anything, you should definitely come. Or if you are, you should reschedule some work and just come out there. It'll definitely be worth more than just a couple days worth of work.
Yeah. You guys, you got something going on too with what is it? Secret weapons, I think you call it. Tell me a little bit more about that, man.
Are you going to be at Clipicon next week?
Yeah. I'm speaking there next week. Yep.
Okay, so I'll be there too. I got a booth for Secret Weapons. Secret Weapons is a VA company, and so we work with a lot of gutter companies, a lot of Christmas light companies, or just any home service business in general. But what we do is we focus more like on full admin. So we're bringing in people that could answer the phones, manage CRMs, schedule estimates, schedule jobs, handle all the back and forth with customers. But at the same time, they're also skilled in graphic design, video editing, and social media management. So you kind of get the whole thing. You got someone running the office, doing any admin tasks, newsletters, whatever needs to be done, depending on your company. But they're also kind of structuring out the social and making sure that's attended to, which I'd say like 95% of everybody's neglecting.
Right,
so
for sure. Yeah.
We kind of package it up, but we also do custom packages. But I would say that's the main thing that most home service businesses need. And, it's just really cost effective versus hiring someone, local that's probably less skilled and maybe 3 or 4 times the price.
Yeah. And then you've got to train. And then after you're done training, they leave and then you're W-2 in. Then you've got all kinds of stuff going on with workers' comp. You've got to pay into all kinds of insurances and all that sort of thing, man. It gets real expensive having employees. And so that I mean, the virtual assistant stuff, the admin, the outsourcing, that all has really taken off. And now then you get AI, right? And so there's this sort of thing. We're in this, I've talked to a lot of people about it, and it's there's a lot of people afraid of it. There's a lot of people trying to think what is going on. I haven't met a business owner yet in the home service space that's nailed down AI, to be honest with you. And I've talked to a lot of them, and I get a lot of people and have business partners like you and that talk to a lot of people. Yeah. And I don't know of anybody that's nailed down AI for their home service business yet. There's some cool things out there. ChatGPT is great for stuff. I use it every day just about, but it makes me writing emails and doing something and some research, definitely research it helps with, ideas it helps with, but the VA thing and the outsourcing admin thing is still more powerful, I think, than AI right now. What's your thought?
AI is good. I think that it's important to implement, but the way that I see it, like I wouldn't have AI answering the phone. And the more that these large companies are doing that, like the more people are probably going to crave, human interaction. Yep. So I don't see the VAs or the actual people going anywhere for a while. I think that, if we're going to use AI voice or anything like that, I think it might be good for like a backup, like off hours when no one's going to answer the phone. But with AI, I think the best way to use it is for like lead follow-up. So if someone's going to fill out a form on Facebook or if someone's going to fill out a form on your website, I think lead follow-up is the best way to do it, because then they'll automatically get a text message and it'll kind of prompt them to, get on the schedule. It's probably the best way. And then, maybe just using it a lot for research and helping with content and stuff like that. But you got to be careful because people get turned off and it looks too much like AI. So it's like, it's a little balancing.
Get the emojis all over the place and all that stuff. But it's great. And then I'm super aligned with all that stuff, everything you just said. With the I always talk about it in recruiting. We don't we don't just throw AI and make it sound super sexy and then post it somewhere for you. I
Yeah.
mean, there's still like keywords we're looking up. There's strategies on, if you're in the gutter cleaning business, we still want to use keywords, and maybe, we hire from landscaping industry, but because a landscaper that's looking, they're typing in landscaping and your job might pop up. They never thought about cleaning gutters, right?
Yeah.
There's sick of landscaping. They want something outside. So there's that type of strategy. And as far as I know, Indeed still the powerhouse to if you're hiring on a big scale, even a small to medium sized scale, Indeed still the powerhouse. We don't love it, but it's still the game. Nobody's knocked them down yet. I'm praying somebody does, but they haven't yet. So I know for a fact that there's nothing AI that can go inside of Indeed that can look at the keywords in your specific labor market, and that it can tell you what it thinks would be a good idea in general, but it can't tell you in your labor market. And that's really important. So research to some extent, but I mean, Google comes out and Google tells you things. You got to do the same thing in recruiting. Well, are you guys, is there anything you're seeing marketing wise or sales wise that has changed over the last couple years, maybe year or two? I'm not hearing like Facebook working as great as it used to. I'm not hearing, the Google's kind of spliced up and diced up some things. Is there any couple things you can touch on, Tim, at all about the marketing end of the business?
I think that the search behavior is changing. So people are starting to use Chat GPT or, different AI services to search for things, right? And so if your website and SEO and all this stuff isn't, registering with AI, then you might start losing searches, and
Right.
So whatever that is, I'm not an SEO guy, but you want to make it conducive to AI, and so that way when it's getting searched, because what AI is doing is it's just searching all the search engines.
Yep.
And so where before we were just searching Google, now it's like scanning everything. And, I don't necessarily know what it is that puts it up there, but I know that that's the problem you need to fix to make sure that,
Right.
you're pulling up when they're searching you on AI.
For
So
sure.
I think that's kind of changing. And I don't know, I'm sure Google will adapt to it somehow. But I also feel like AdWords is just getting more and more expensive as we go along here too.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah, super expensive. And I'm hearing that in part, at least, some of that has to do with private equity buying up a bunch of stuff, and then they have tons of money to do whatever to get the clicks and all that stuff. That's really changing the landscape of marketing on Google.
it is, but it could create some advantages there. You could exploit if you're adaptable.
Yeah, I like that. Just like recruiting, you got to be nimble. You got, if there is a huge advantage to talk about, we're a small business. We're like a family small business. Even if you got 30 or 40 employees, that's a small business.
It is.
Compared to Amazon, just being a number on a floor in Amazon and stuff like that, there's still a lot of advantage, especially in the blue collar world. Blue collar guys aren't like super corporate structured guys. We like to hunt, fish, drive pickup trucks, and do all the cool stuff. We're not looking to be part of a corporation necessarily. I mean, so I would be screaming that you're a small business, and that's a big advantage in our industries. With AI, I was looking it up on YouTube. There's actually a term now that it used to be SEO. There is a term to get sort of SEO-ish in the world of AI and ChatGPT and all that stuff. I don't know enough about it yet, but I'm looking into it. I think you're onto something with that. It's probably here more than I know because I'm just not on top of the game with that. But I'll tell you, it's and I think there's a huge premium. There's going to be this area where AI is doing what it's doing, and I agree wholeheartedly with you. And I've been saying this for at least a year. There's going to be a premium on having human beings answer phones, going on job sites, things like that, showing up, knocking on a door, and all that stuff. There's going to be this big gap of that happening, and I think that you've got to understand that. And then I think eventually there's going to be the big businesses where it's going to be more I think it's going to be expected, like chatbots. I didn't like chatbots when they first came out. I wanted to talk to somebody, and they came out and they were kind of shitty. They answered maybe 5 or 6 different questions, and I'm like, that's not at all what I was asking.
Generic.
Those got to be a lot better. Now I like chatbots a little bit more when I need to
Yep.
get something quickly, right? So I think that's sort of the same thing that AI voice is going to be. I think eventually it's going to be, you're literally going to have AI voice calling another AI voice to do business in maybe 5 years or something. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing,
Yeah.
But again, there's going to be a premium on human beings, especially in home service. There's a service industry. If I'm buying a product's a product. If my product is a square wooden box and you build a square wooden box, or I always bring the auto industry up, a Ford 150 at ABC dealership is the same damn one at another dealership. As long as they're brand new, it's the same thing. So what makes you different? I don't know. It's going to drive the cost down in a lot of ways. But to me, it's no different than when the websites came out, when the internet came out. We've been doing this for a long time. I think where it's going to get interesting, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about this, and maybe this isn't in your industry, probably as much as pressure washing and stuff, but you get the drones are coming out now, especially in pressure washing and maybe some DIY stuff, man. It's delivering shit for us a little bit. So, but I think there's going to be an interesting thing happening. Maybe not in our lifetime. Maybe it will be. Where robotics are doing some things. AI is one thing. Robotics a whole different story, man. And I think we're getting way ahead of ourselves with that. But have you see anything drone wise happening in your industry yet?
I mean, a lot of people are using it just for, just looking at jobs and stuff. It might be a clean out or
camera
something.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that is pretty cool. I have seen I follow the pressure washing industry, and I've seen those drones that they have that are soft washing, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you guys mainly in residential, or do you have some commercial stuff that you teach and out there at the summit and that sort of thing, and in your coaching programs?
Yeah, we do residential and commercial. So we teach both.
Okay.
I was pretty big into the commercial space when I had my last gutter company that I sold.
Okay. So commercial too. And I always tell people with the Christmas light thing, they laugh. I've got a client that does like $4 million hanging Christmas lights in California over 4 months. And people look at me like I got 3 heads, and I'm like, but a lot of it's commercial. We forget about commercial, I think, a lot of times when we're talking in the home service space. Would you say that commercial is a harder sale or marketing than residential?
I don't think it's harder. I think it's slower. So
Yeah.
it's, you know what I mean? Like it's just going to take longer to get the deal done. Like I got a couple of bids out there right now for 80, 90 grand on some Christmas lights. Communities that are wanting to do like, their whole median going through or whatnot. There's some big bids out there. But they're not going to do it, a month before season and tell you to pull the trigger. It's going to be something that they're doing the year prior, and then coming up the season, you can start getting it approved and stuff like that. So I think it's a little bit slower, but I think it's worth the efforts because you're getting bigger, more profitable jobs. And in most industries, commercials just used to paying more, and so there's more margins in commercials, in my opinion.
Okay. And were you doing installations commercial wise too, or was it mainly cleaning?
Mainly installation.
Okay.
I did cleaning as secondary. Like we did it just because, we could, but I focused mainly on like installation and a lot into different custom profiles and stuff like that.
Right. Right. Yeah. I would think the cleaning end is more, on the commercial side is more, less relationship and more, can I save a penny going to another guy?
Yeah.
So
it can be for sure.
And with residential, do you guys have like maintenance programs where you're cleaning more than once a year, or is it once a year in the fall? When's your hot season for gutter cleaning?
So what we do as far as maintenance packages, we're tying it to a better warranty, and so if they have us come out and maintenance the gutter, once or twice a year, we could give them a better warranty now because the system's being taken care of and we know it is. So we'll have a warranty, but then we'll just have a better warranty if they do it could be lifetime if they're doing the maintenance package.
Okay, that makes sense. What's your customer look like that is using the secret weapons, the admin stuff that you guys have put together? Who does that work best for, or what's your avatar?
So, I mean, pretty much any home service business. Actually, I signed up a lawyer last week.
Nice.
So we could customize anything, but what we focused on is like admin because that's the main thing most guys need. Like they're not answering the phone, they're getting disorganized. They need someone to kind of keep them straight, keep their schedule straight, and answer the phone every single time it rings, and
Yep.
just handle all the back and forth. So I just think it's good for, a guy. I would say like 65% of most of these industries are just a guy in a truck and maybe they got one helper. They're trying to do everything. You're not going to get to that next level until you build out the infrastructure of being able to scale. And so like having someone in your office running stuff, even if it's virtual, you're setting up infrastructure now that'll allow you to scale because money likes to be organized. And, the more organized you are, the more money you're going to make.
Yep. Super efficiency. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys with this and other things that you're doing help a small business that doesn't know how to grow, that gets caught in those purgatories of growth, that that $250,000, that $500,000. How do I bust through $1 million? Probably in general, the hardest is to get past those beginning purgatories. And then there's all kinds of different things. You're starting to replace yourself a little bit when you get to $1 million and so on. Then we're thinking, do we need another location? So that's a whole different game there. So what do you think are the maybe one or two things that you see other than outsourcing the admin stuff and holding on to the reins that keep people back when they're trying to grow their business and they're looking maybe for their breakout? I don't know. I'm not attuned like Plata is the numbers guy and you guys are with the numbers behind gutter cleaning and installation. But, I know like when you're doing landscape lights, you can have one guy producing, $500,000 a year,
Yep.
So that's a lot of dough. What is it that you see that is preventing somebody from making that step from sort of like that $250,000 mark to get up?
So most of them just are really lacking on the marketing side of things. It's almost like most business owners hate marketing, but that should be really the component that you love because that's what's going to bring in cash.
Yep.
And so a lot of them get confused over spending and investing. And so what I mean by that is, if you tell them like AdWords, it just depends on the business and the situation. Like if they're in a rural area, maybe they don't need it. But say they're more in like a city area, they might need AdWords, right? Or, some type of pay per click thing. And, when you tell them, hey, if you want to get, if you want to put another truck on the road, you really need to have like probably a $5,000 budget per month. They're like, whoa, $5,000.
Right.
I can't spend that. And it's because they're looking at it as spending. And so the mindset shift should be, you're paying for jobs, right? It's pay per click. You're going to pay for leads, of course, like you're paying to play. But the thing is how much is that lead costing you?
Yeah.
How much is the job costing you? And you're going to know how much a job's costing you by like what your closing ratio is. And
Right.
so it's paying attention to these certain KPIs. If you're tracking it and you know that it's costing you $75 or $100 for a lead, and it's taking you 2 leads to get a job, your job cost is $200. You shouldn't care what you're spending if you're making money every time you spend it. And so what is the average ticket question? And so once you figure out like, every time I spend $200, I am selling a $2,500 job or a $3,000 job. You should want to spend more money. And so you're not really spending. I tell people marketing is like a boomerang. You got to take that initial investment, throw it out. It's going to come back when the job pays you. And then you got to throw it back out there again. And if you don't have these fishing lines out there at all times, you're just not catching fish. And so it's getting over the fear of thinking that they're spending money and realizing that they're investing money. And there's a way to track it so that you have clarity so that you know that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are things where you can make a couple mistakes and be fearful and not follow up and do these things and lose that money. That's why somebody like Tim is important to reach out to if you're a guy that we're talking about right now. He's been through it. His partners have been through it. He knows the highest of the high, when it comes to gutter cleaning businesses out there, and knows what they've done. Or get in touch with him so if those mistakes don't happen. You can make a $10,000 mistake really, really quick if you just kind of don't know what you're doing and you're just starting to throw money around, man. Let somebody like Tim talk to you about a strategy, tracking those numbers and going, I think we're onto something here, where you're not tracking the numbers and you're going, this is just easier to do, so I'm just going to keep whipping money there, and you go out of business in 2 years. Okay. That's a really important thing. So that's one. Let somebody that's been through the hard school of knocks and tell you those minefields that are out there. That'll save you. I used to say, because that's a question that I've been asked in the past, Tim. What's one thing I regretted when I had my cleaning company? And it was not getting somebody that knew more than I did and a coach. Not because I had a big ego. It was just because I was too intimidated by it, and again, it's an investment. It's not it's not spending money and wasting money. It's an investment with a really big return, and you're probably going to, if I was an odds maker in Vegas, I'd be betting on getting a coach that's been there, done that, knows the things you need to track, and then you can move on from there. And I'm in the same boat on the recruiting side. You on the marketing end can market all you want, but if you can't find somebody to go out there and install and clean stuff, you ain't going to get the money. Right. So I'm on the same side. I'll get somebody that basically looks at me like I'm crazy when I say, you might want to spend $500 to find somebody, dude. You know, what are you nuts? No, I might be, but I'm telling you, this is the way it happens. I've got thousands of businesses I can tell you that have spent a lot more than that. Yeah. And those are, you're talking about, what do you do to produce money? Right? You market to produce money, and then somebody goes out and installs or cleans something to produce money. And if you're not tracking things and you're not knowing how to do that properly, you're in trouble. And then you fall into that. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not wasting my money I got burnt. I'm not doing it again. You're never going to get past that $250,000. So I'd highly recommend reaching out to Tim, and if you need some help with that. To get to the summit, man, because you'll be able to talk personally with hundreds of different business owners like Tim was talking about. One thing that you said that I wrote down too, Tim, is I get every now and again, I wonder if you get this in marketing at all. When I'm coaching somebody or I'm doing the recruiting game, somebody will say, I've got a buddy that I talk to all the way on the other side of the country, that he's nailing, recruiting is pretty easy over there, and they're doing this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, different markets have different types of things going on. You mentioned rural versus like a city environment. Does that happen in the marketing game too? I'm guessing it does, but what do you see there?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've noticed that if someone's like in a real rural area, that they almost don't have to do any pay-per-click ads, because if they just hyper focus on their SEO, like they're at the top of the page so easy. Where like if you're in an area where you got 300 gutter companies, like kind of like in my area, it's going to be harder to do that, right? It's not that you can't, but it's not going to happen in 2 months like it might for someone in the rural area. It might take a couple of years to get to the very, very top. And so in that situation, like pay-per-click is going to help you get up to the top automatically, so it's worth doing. But in the rural areas, it's not always the case. I'm not really like a magazine guy or those, or like a billboard type of guy, but I've actually seen those things work really well in some rural areas, even radio. And so, there are different markets, and not every market's the same, and you got to kind of pay attention to that and strategize according to the market. You'll see guys on groups, acting like this is the way it is, but that's not the way it is, because there's like so many different markets. The U.S. is almost like 50 different countries put together.
Right. Yeah, it is. My family and I just took a family vacation to California. Yeah, California is definitely different where I'm here right now in Northeast Ohio. It's just completely like two different worlds, man. With the going back to the outsourcing admin stuff, is there um, is there any different, like, are these packages that you can choose one or two things, or because you mentioned a lot of different things that you're able
Mhm.
to do, are they trained specifically to this business versus, because now we're talking about different businesses in different parts of the country. There's all kinds of things that can go. And I know with recruiting, we've got to be careful to to let people know we're not HR attorneys.
Yeah.
Different states have different things you're allowed to do in it, job ads, and there's some states where you can't even mention the word background check or you'll get taken to court. That's illegal in California and some other
Oh,
places, right? Yeah. So you got to be careful of that type of thing. But we're not lawyers, so there's still some things you have to look at as a business owner. But what is it tailored to people, or is it brush and here's what we have, take it or leave it? What's it all about?
so it's pretty tailored. So the way you look at it is our VAs, some VAs they might manage a bunch of different companies. Our VAs don't. They're only working for you
Okay.
40 hours a week. You could have them between 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 or whatever is conducive for your business. It might be a different timeline, but it does have to be 8 consecutive hours. Um, but with that being said, you get a real relationship that you start building with this VA just like you would any other employee, and you're going to train them and get them, trained up the way that you want them to. Not everybody runs their business the same, but just, like I've had some people that don't want someone answering the phone. They
Yeah.
want a ton of social media. Maybe they have more video to do. So whatever it is, it's got to be crafted to where one person could handle that amount of workload. Sometimes people might need extra, and we could add on another part-time VA or an additional VA.
Okay. Nice. Um, you don't do any type of sales with it though, do you? Like outbound calls and things like that?
We could, but personally, I just wouldn't. I try not to
Yeah,
push anyone to that. I think that, they're Philippines. They speak good English, but I still feel like in sales, you'll get further if you hire an American to do it.
I agree.
Um, but, they answer the phone and they do outbound when it comes to like, someone might put in a form from Facebook or,
Yep.
the website, and they're going to do outbound on that to get them on the schedule.
Yep.
But if someone really, really wanted that, yeah, we could hire someone and craft it. It's just personally, it's not what I try to push.
Yeah, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. One of the things, um, that's why I phrased the question. You don't do anything like that, do you? Because I agree with you wholeheartedly. What about uh, if you're maybe a little bit bigger company? We've used it VA for tracking down some account receivables, and because I don't like the owner or a salesperson to have to get in the mix of, hey man, I know, we got to collect money, and
Yeah.
to have somebody that's a VA do that, man, I think it works wonders for us.
Yeah, I have them do that. They collect money,
Yeah,
invoicing, for
yeah,
sure.
I love it. All right, man. Anything else you want to talk about? Any other things going on? We got a summit going on in Atlanta, Georgia. What were the dates of that again?
That's September 24th, 25th, and 26th. If you do the VIP, which I highly recommend, it'll definitely pay off. We
Yep.
have a lot of giveaways and stuff that we're doing. Then you may want to come a day early.
Okay. And is the VIP, what's the date of the big thing in the VIP? I'm sure there's more than one thing going on, but what's the big day for that?
It's the same dates, but
Okay.
we have a shop tour at Spectra's headquarters, and we
Yeah.
got some cool stuff going on there. We're going to do some soldering training and
Nice.
some underdecking training, and just different things at that event. So it'll be pretty cool. We'll take off in buses pretty
Nice.
early, and that's why if you're VIP, it's smart to come the day before because we're going to be leaving early.
Big time. That's awesome. I mean, that's hands on. That's as
Yeah,
hands
yeah,
on as
yeah.
it gets, man.
Hands
I mean,
on.
that's huge.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right. So 24th, 25th, 26th, there's still tickets available, I'm assuming.
There is. I mean, there's not a ton left, so I would purchase soon. Get your
Yeah.
hotels. Last year we definitely, we sold out, and so did the hotel. So there was a group of people that had to go to like a hotel next door or one down the street, and you're just going to have a much better experience on site.
Always. Yeah, that's something I don't talk enough about it, and you hit it, man, because you're going to bump into somebody walking around the hotel. You're going to be at the bar at the hotel. You're going to be having lunch and see people. And that's where a lot of cool stuff happens too, right? When you're just
This is a
having
cool hotel. They shot the Gone with the Wind movie there.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's got to be cool as hell.
Yeah, it's a cool hotel.
Yeah. All right. So get out there, you guys. Anybody have any questions? You can reach out to Tim. He's all over Facebook. If you'll find him very easily on Facebook. We're going to post some links on here to check out some of the websites. For the secret weapons. I think that's something you need to click on, check it out. Gutter Summit, we'll have the links up for there. And then the Gutter Growth with some of the coaching programs that Tim and Grant and the guys have put together. And, there's just get out there. We'll have, I don't have anybody coming out tomorrow for the podcast. I'll have somebody next Tuesday. We'll get back on track at 2:30. I can't remember who it is. Other than that, that's it, Tim. Thanks for coming on, man. You guys rock and roll. And if there's anything I can do to help you, just let me know.
Sounds like I'll see you at ClipperCon. So.
All right, buddy. Yeah. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you, man.
And bam.